Hi, your friendly neighborhood BS on Blast here to bring you a recap for day 249 post-military coup in Sudan on this, what day is it? Thursday, June 30th. If you missed yesterday's recap, it's on the page. Go watch it. At least 21 cities came out today in massive demonstrations against the coup and military rule. These demonstrations were reported by activists nationwide as being the largest turnout in the last 8 months of protests against the military. We don't have exact figures or accurate info on the number of participating cities. Like I said, this is at least minimum. And we don't have accurate numbers or exact numbers of of protesters that were on the streets today nationwide, considering the fact that people were busy dodging bullets, and B, considering the fact that there was a 12-hour telecom blackout imposed on the country by this coup authority. They shut down the internet and local calls from around 8 o'clock this morning until 8 o'clock this evening, local time. Nonetheless, activists were able to work around this hindrance because they're used to it. This is not the first time that this has happened. And they were able to disseminate some info. More is likely to come out in the next days now that the internet has been restored and that people have calmed down a little, I should say, comparatively to the activities of earlier today. Internet service has been restored, should be fully restored at this point. At the time that I wrote this recap that I'm reading, it was partially restored. Some people were complaining that they still couldn't get connected, but for the most part, internet service has been restored to the country. In terms of attack or retaliation against these peaceful protests by the authorities, activists reported the authorities attacking protests in Khartoum, Madani, Port Sudan, Gadarif, and Al Fashir. Like I said before, because of the delay in information, because of the lack of a complete picture of today, because of the internet and telecom blackout, it is possible that more cities experienced a backlash or retaliation by the authorities, but that's the information that we have so far. Despite General Burhan's commitment that we talked about yesterday to the U.S. Assistant Secretary of State, whatever, for Bureau of African Affairs, whoever, to keep protesters safe, as always, a myriad of weapons were used by security forces against these peaceful, unarmed protesters, including tear gas, sound grenades, live ammunition, oh my god, I can't speak, heavy artillery machine guns, and their vehicles, because they were running over protesters in several cities, not just in Khartoum. As a result of these weapons used and the brutality of security forces, 9 protesters were killed in Khartoum today, the youngest of them 15 years old, making a total of 112 protesters murdered by the authorities since October 25th, 2021. This according to the Sudan Doctors Committee's count, according to mine, which includes the 3 protesters killed in Sinad in May. At least 115 people have been murdered by the authorities since they took power on October 25th. Activists estimate around 500 people injured in Khartoum alone, but accurate data is still unavailable. Like I said, because of all the reasons that I stated before. There were injuries reported in Port Sudan. In Al Fashir, I believe 6 people were injured, and a number of arrests were made Arrest campaigns were heavy in Medini, I believe, and in Khartoum. In Khartoum, calls have been made for sit-ins, one in Bahri, another one in Bashdad, at Bashdad and Khartoum, as well as the barricading of neighborhoods and cities nationwide. This is something that has been a call out that resistance committees in Khartoum have made to the rest of the country as a way to continue what was a heartbreaking but successful day nonetheless in terms of protest and resistance. Very successful. And resistance committees want to capitalize on that momentum to keep applying pressure to see these monsters gone. The resistance continues.